Hi, folks. People often ask in times of crisis like this, with Putin invading the Ukraine and any times of war, how can God allow bad things like this to happen? And there's a lot we can learn from asking that question and reconsidering what we mean. Um, First, I want to say um, when people ask that question, they also want to know what we can do to support people in a situation when we're far away, when we don't have a direct connection to it. And to answer that question, we can do what President Zelensky asked people to do: is support Ukraine. So support Ukraine and show that we're on their side and help spread the truth about stuff so that the war ends. And that's something that we can all do. Regarding God, what can God or the goddesses do? Um, it depends on who you ask. And first, I want to say to atheists, I love you, and um, just considering we're on the same side, we probably have the same problems with the same God, and so we're on the same side. Um, but you have to admit that gods and goddesses exist. Like whether or not you think they're real or they exist outside of people, you have to admit that they exist as ideas within people, and that therefore all the gods and goddesses are represented within people all over the world, except for the ones who have been forgotten. And that as existing ideas, they're they do exist even if you don't believe in them. And the same thing goes for people who only believe in one god or believe in certain gods and think that other gods aren't necessarily true. You can easily see in situations of war, especially thankfully there's peace now, a peace accord in Yemen, thanks to the goddess and thanks to all the gods and goddesses and people involved in making that happen. But when you think that they for 7 years are at war with each other, and they either pray to the same God or pray to different gods or different versions of the same God that hasn't chosen sides between them, if they're praying to the same God, like it has two quarreling children, um, you have to recognize that while there may be gods of war, those gods are wrong. Like, we can't take it away from Vladimir Putin that it was his decision to invade Ukraine. Now, he may believe he's worshiping some sort of god, he may be, but that god's wrong. And we'll be proven wrong. But what can we do? We can connect with better gods and goddesses. One of the reasons I want to usually just say the goddess is because it overturns a lot of our ideas about God that are wrong and tend towards wrong things. Like the idea that there's only one God reinforces your idea that only your ideas are right, or only the way you currently think about things are correct. And if there's anything true about God and goddesses, gods and goddesses, is that there's more to it. There's more than we can understand. And that what is the truth that is more than what we think gods are, or that gods are just what we think they are, is beyond those ideas in a way that brings them together. Much the same as a fish and a light bulb come together to make Mr. Sparkle. So when you bring these things together, the very question, where is God in all this? Why isn't God stopping this? Well, the question applies to us as well. Why aren't we stopping this? Why are the gods that we associate with, or the gods and goddesses we associate with and connect with, not helping us do a better job stopping this? Maybe we need to connect with better gods, better goddesses, and better gods. Maybe we connect with the goddess. The goddess is for peace. So thank you to the goddess for peace in Yemen. And we want peace in Ukraine and peace in the entire world. Peace defeating war, which is obsolete, which has been obsolete, and we need to move past it for a long time now. But that requires us to connect with that goddess to manifest the wishes of that goddess in the world and to open up to each other. It's like waiting for someone to make the first move, and they've already made plenty of moves. But the peaceful moves can't be as forceful and insistent as, of course, force and insistence is. So we can change some of our ideas about God. To do that, check out my book, The Art of Betrayal by God, which I wrote during the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Elijah McClain era Black Lives Matter movement, and reflects how we need to change our ideas about who God is and what God is, and we need to open up to more peaceful conceptions, because that's a greater spirituality, and there's always more to it. There's more gods that we don't know within ourselves, just like there's more gods and goddesses in the world. The follow-up book to that, the book of Judas, explains how Jesus made a prophecy to Judas, a secret prophecy that predicts the end of all war and the beginning of democracy. So this is what's coming true now, that war has to end, and so we will be connecting with these gods and goddesses and spirits and spiritualities that are peaceful and beyond war and bring us all together. And the ones that were about war and driving us apart and destroying everything will be, reformed or gotten rid of. They will be fixed, clarified to what they should be, mature, or they'll go away because they're false conceptions of what God is. And we know that because they're the ones responsible for the worst human actions. We know those are mistakes.